716 Radio, blazing the trails of R&B,
And I feel like sometimes
hip hop, Afro,
If you want make a ginger, give me kokoro.
and inspiration.
We got to go way up.
Fire 716 Radio, playing the best in urban and inspirational music.
You're locked into the vault with Donta Myles on Fire 716 Radio.
Hey, what's going on? I am back. We are here at the Vault Fire 716. I didn't get a chance to see everybody that's on right now. So what's going on, Big Rick? Miss Doucette, good morning. Miss Belinda, how you doing? Let's see here. Who else is on? I want to make sure that I show love to everyone here. Billy Joe. Hello. Paula, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Good morning, cousin Lola, Nicole, Mr. Hunter, Angela. How are you guys doing? Lola said, good morning. She said, good morning. Don't have me up here lying. Angela, how y'all doing? All right, so welcome. We're back. This is Donta Myles. This is your host, Fire 716, The Vault, right? And I'm here with my man, Big Frank.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So listen, let's get right to it because the conversation was rich last week, right? We had this conversation about what is considered to be a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And we've touched on different subjects such as, unhealed trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That's a heavy one. Unhealed trauma, unspoken expectations. So just to kind of brush over what we spoke on, unhealed trauma, when you're going into a relationship and you have unsettled trauma issues, different things, and that can actually go way back to your childhood.
Yeah.
In many cases, a lot of the unhealed trauma that destroys relationships is unhealed traumas from previous relationships that you never really got a chance to let go and release and unpack.
Yeah.
So that one was big. So that's something that could be a series, but we're not going to run into that one right now. And then also, we have unspoken expectations where you have some people that have expectations without talking about them. Communication is huge. That was another portion of it. Today I'd like to talk about adding on, and we can still kind of tag some of those different aspects of healthy relationships to this next point that I'm going to bring out. Let me get my business together before we start. Go to Fire 716 Radio and download the app, please. You will be able to relive all of these shows right on Fire 716 Radio. And download the app, like it, share it with your friends. Now that I got the business out the way. This next portion is for healthy relationships. The topic today, a big topic, is outside influences. So, my dad told me, he said, Tank, love everybody and keep everybody out your business.
Mm-hmm.
Outside influences. What's going on, Micah? Outside influences. When you when you're in a relationship, and me personally, I believe in when there's a problem, you handle your problems in-house.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? With the person that you choose or that chose you, however that goes, you handle your problems in-house.
Yeah.
And many times, you know, what happens is in relationships, we have those friends, those family members that, you know, you bring some of your personal relation problems to. And, you know, what happens is a lot of times you already have you build a team.
Yeah.
A team of people that's going to co-sign for what's going on, Beth? That's going to co-sign for all of your stuff, all of the things that you know. So you need to build. And what happens a lot of times, and that's what, and on both sides of the relationship that you know, your significant other and your friendship, because what happens a lot of times, you bring your stuff to this person, now y'all going ham, going hard about this little dog and then all of a sudden you and your significant other get things together, get things straight.
Now the energy over there is still.
So now when y'all go and y'all connect, your girlfriend, your homeboy or whatever, they looking at you, and then they looking at you like, why you with
Yeah.
It's funny. So my thing is what do you think in regards to what is your take on what is the limit? You know what I mean? What is the boundary of being able to express? Because you got to know who to bleed in front of.
Yeah.
And if it gets to the point where it's like, we just not, it's just overwhelming. And
I think you got to know how to bleed too.
Right.
Because what happens is a lot of times is that we bleed. All we do is just bleed. We don't tell the full story.
Right.
We don't tell the positive side. This is just a moment in time.
Right.
But if you always come to me with the negative moment, my perception of the person that you're talking to is going to always be negative. Because you're only producing to me. So if you're going to go and report to somebody about your challenges outside the relationship, you better tell them about the good times too.
Right.
You better tell them like, no, this is a challenge that I'm having, but these are the things that they're doing well. This is just, I'm just trying to, and who you talk to makes a difference. You need to talk to somebody who is successfully executing where you're trying to go. You can't talk to broken trying to get help.
Right.
Like you can't talk to somebody who is established. We got 30 years, 40 years. We've been through the muck and the mire. We're in better days now. So who you talk to is important too.
Who did y'all hear that? I don't know if y'all heard that. So if you didn't hear it, I'm sure y'all heard it. Who you talk to. So I don't need to be trying to get relationship advice from one of my boys that's not in a successful relationship himself. Women, same. If your homie, your homegirl is always in a problematic situation in her relationship, what sense does it make for you to actually go and gather advice from her?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when it's toxicity in her situation.
Yeah.
So all you end up doing is, what they say, misery loves company. So we just keep building all of this toxicity, and all of a sudden, yeah, girl, put on your FM dress. Yeah. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
And what happens is you can't, I say it's even just relationship overall. Your baseline can't be your trauma or your heydays.
Right.
We relate based on what we used to do. But where I'm at now and where I
was before. I'm a different person.
I'm a different person. Like my life is different. So I can't talk to, just say for ladies, I'm just go here. If you married, husband, kids, your development is different than a friend who's single out here living and just floating in the boat.
Right.
Y'all can't respond the same.
Right.
Y'all categories isn't the same.
Right.
And
your lived experience is not the same. It's not a shared experience.
Absolutely.
Wendy said, I have found for me, in the house situation should be handled in-house only. Other opinions that matter is God. Come on now. That matter is God. if that doesn't work, then go to someone in the position you want your relationship to be in. Let me tell y'all something. Here's another thing that I talked about before. Counseling. It's okay. It's good. It's okay to do. Matter of fact, counseling can be even much better because it's a non-bias.
Absolutely.
Someone you don't know. I'm not going to suggest you to go to your pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that one more time. In the event, especially depending, like, because there can be a level of biasness. You may not know exactly where the biasness is, but it's best in many cases when you don't know, just on from an exterior space.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to, because what happens is when you're dealing with people that see you on a normal, that level of biasness can be a little bit, not good for the conversation.
Right.
So, have a conversation, book an appointment, and therefore, when you bleed, this is not a person that y'all gonna be running into.
Mm-hmm.
This counselor is not gonna come to your picnics and your barbecues and family outings. This is somebody that's going to sit, listen to you, and try to allow you to be able to unpack this trauma, or not necessarily trauma, but even in situations that maybe you and your significant other may not be able to handle right off the bat, and maybe it keep going left every time you keep having the conversation. This person is going to be able to listen to you and help guide you in conversation to help you unpack. And then, and when you leave, they're going to their space. They're going home. Y'all not running in the same circles. You don't have to deal with them. So, outside influences. So let's talk about that. That's that. So there's your, your homeboys and your girls. Then there is, your coworkers. That is sometimes that could be some of the worst.
No, for sure.
That can be some of the worst because these are people that you deal with every single day. And what happens is this, excuse me, when you open up that door, when you open that floodgate, when the waves begin to start crashing, don't get upset when people have an opinion. Because you go to work and then now you just gave them a little juice and some tea. So guess what? Now they're, especially if you got coworkers who ain't got much of a life, you walk up in your job, that's their bread and butter. They can't
wait for next. Listen,
what did he do today? What happened?
And I'm gonna be very honest with you, okay? And if you're watching, hello,
right?
Because I got a coworker who comes and reports her activities all. And on, I ain't gonna hold you, on Monday and Wednesday, I go in like, what did she do now? Like, what is going? Like, what's the next storyline? And it's all laughter and funny until you're trying to change.
Right.
Now you're trying to rearrange it, but all I keep waiting for more tea.
What's tea? Because that's the culture.
That's the culture.
So you gotta see. That's another. You gotta watch out, like, as to what you're putting out there. So I'm gonna even transition from, because that.
Right.
What platform am I pointing at right now? This is Facebook. Guess what, guys? Facebook is not therapy.
It's not.
Facebook is not a therapy session. Let me tell you something about Facebook. When you put your business out there, just because it say you got 3,000-4,000 friends, they're not your friends, really. I don't use friends lightly. That term is something serious, because a true friend in many cases can be closer to you than your own blood relatives.
Yeah.
It's the difference between family, blood relatives, and friends. Friends, to me, friends is like that family dynamic.
Yeah.
These are the people that are there when the smoke clears. Facebook, when you put all of your personal business, good morning, Kevin, how you doing, bro, on Facebook, do you understand that this platform, everybody that watches it, they becomes your new audience. And then you give them space. You give them space to have an opinion. Don't get mad. Do not get mad when someone addresses your situation. You're going to get people that's going to disagree, agree, and have something to say. But that's because you put it out there. When you put it out there on Facebook, on social media, and it gets ugly. And it gets, especially if it's a problem. Like, let's talk about Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is small as a droplet. Just a excuse me. 47,000 people here. We're not New York City. We're not even Buffalo. Buffalo's probably like a little I know they well over like I think 300,000-400,000 people. You do understand when you put stuff out there, people can't unsee or unhear something. So when you, again, like I said prior to, when you and your significant other get things squared and get things together and get things right, you still got 500-600 people that read your post the other day. So when they see you all booed up a few days later, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and everybody's opinion is what it is, but you put it out there. And when you put it out there,
you open yourself up.
And if you're talking about trying to fix your relationship, now your significant other knows that you was out here on Facebook dogging them out. So when people come and hit him up, or her up, depending on who it is, vice versa, because both sides do it. Then it's like you wonder why it's another issue.
Yeah.
When you I'm no relationship expert, but I've learned a few things over these 44 years of my life. And if you put your information out, you begin to, let's look at it this way so everybody can kind of get a visual of it. So I love analogies.
That's all right.
I'm a visual type of person. So I know that I have a situation with I'm just giving it because I don't have a significant other, but I'm in a relationship with this person. Hey, Phoenicia. And so we have an issue. We don't resolve it at home. So then all of a sudden I hop on Facebook and I put it out there. That is considered a trap. Then I'm going out, I'm talking, I'm going somewhere, I'm going to a lounge or something or whatever. I see a couple of friends there. Now I'm talking to them about it. I set another trap. Y'all get what I'm saying? The more you keep putting it out there about y'all problems, the more traps you set. Now, what's the kind of traps? What the ones that when they're trying traps. The bear trap?
Oh, yeah.
That's so picture that. And then now you going back and now you're trying to get things right. So you trying to cover these traps that you done already put out. And y'all trying to walk it out. But what happens? Y'all walking through life, and next thing you know, you wondering how this happened. Y'all done set so many traps with y'all mouth. Come on now.
Yeah.
Y'all done set so many traps with your mouth in your relationship that you can't, you're gonna run into it. Or y'all been like, and that's another thing. That's why it's just best to keep it in-house. Because what happens is when you put that energy out, energy is a real thing, whether people know it or not. You put that energy out, you almost feel like you have to maintain that energy. So if you're around somebody, and you putting all kind of, yeah, he or she, this, nah.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out, your main is like, oh, I gotta keep that same energy.
Yeah.
Even though I don't. So listen, I've been in that situation before where you get around a person, you be like, yo, what the heck? What's going on?
Yeah.
And you find out some things, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what I do? It's because it's energy.
Yeah.
It's energy. And when you find yourself feeding into energy or putting out energy, that stuff still lingers around.
Yeah.
So you wonder why can't we get it right? So that's another thing. In your space, you need to make sure that your space is healthy.
Yeah.
You need to cleanse your mental capacity. You need to, you know what I'm saying, work on our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Teach me how to love.
Mm-hmm.
The person that you're with, it is a real thing that you need to teach them how to love you.
No valid.
You need to teach them. And this is not nobody being, oh, you trying to be over me. No, I'm teaching you. I'm educating you on how to love me as a person,
Mm-hmm.
how to communicate with me.
Right.
I'm educating you on my love language. Maybe I don't need affirmation. Maybe I'm a touch.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm a person, or I'm teaching you how to connect with me. So
right.
Our communication can be effective.
Absolutely.
Effective communication. So listen, y'all chime in, because at the end of the day, this is not gonna be. I'm not preaching. I mean, to some of y'all might be preaching. However,
but it's a real thing, and I think that sometimes we have become accustomed to unhealthy relationships that we don't know how to embrace or really handle a healthy. What do you mean communication? What do you mean what I want? Matter of fact, I've been dictated to for so long that I don't even know
what it feels like to
not be. And
yeah,
and that's some things you have to really dig into yourself, and you got to figure out. And healthy relationship is important because you need to know how to be good to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know how to be good to you, you won't be able to communicate to me as I'm trying to figure out and discover and communicate. So, but all these factors play a role in your life overall.
Mm-hmm.
How you deal with people, how you move, how you work, where you go. And you can have a good heart,
right,
in a bad relationship,
right,
and it can just take you into a rabbit hole of chaos.
Yeah,
and it's like it's time. I believe this is just where I am in my journey of life. I guess even being married with my wife, you know what? There's some things that we have to work on,
right,
to make sure that this is efficient, sustaining, and long term.
Right.
It's not for me to go out to tell the world what that is.
Right.
Those details. We're gonna handle it. And when I say handle it in-house, like you said, I do believe in counseling.
Right.
I do believe in that. Because I believe that people who do counseling are designed to unlock the mind.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
And you don't need, and you said this, I'm just repeating you. You don't have to worry about running into, oh, mine, they're going to tell my, no, outside source. Let's have this conversation, this dialogue. Let's get what we need and let's strive.
Right.
And let's live, because if my house ain't happy, over time, no matter how much I pretend out here in the world,
right,
these things will start falling apart.
Right.
All right, Frank, you're doing good, you're doing great. But if my home ain't together, it's like
that's your main. That's the main. Now, the main thing is always going to be the main thing, and that's your home, your home health, your personal health, your personal mind frame, your mental health. Loving, everyone needs an outlet, but it is difficult to speak to people who love the gossip. And that's why, again, like you said, you got to know who to talk to, who to be able to address. That's why, again, counselors is great.
Absolutely.
I've been there. I'm going to sign up again. I've been really busy as of late, but I'm making some conscious decisions for me because I had to learn how to love myself more than I love anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna restate that again. I had to learn how to love Donta Myles more. Doesn't mean that I don't love others.
Yeah.
I had to learn to love me more than I love everybody else, including my kids.
Yeah.
Watch, how does that sound to some people? Some people are like, what? Let me help you out, because y'all know I love my kids, and I will flip this city upside down over my kids, but I will flip the city upside down over myself as well.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about it. I love myself. And for me to be able to love myself in the manner that I need to love myself, then I would be able to effectively love my kids. And
Yes.
the person that God has for me, I would be able to love them with an unconditional love, because I know that the love that I have for myself is going to go with me to my grave.
Mm-hmm.
So having to understand how to love yourself, be comfortable in your own skin, understand who you are. Let me just put it this way. Understand who you're becoming. I think that's the word. Because we are nothing right now. We when I say we are nothing, let me put it this way. We're something. I have to rephrase it.
Mm-hmm.
We are who we are at this time, but we're always evolving. Mm-hmm. I said this a long time ago. I am who I am. I am who I am at this time until something else happens, mm-hmm. or I cross a path that turns me into something different. I could, you know what I'm saying? You are who you are until a situation occurs that makes you cross my kids the right way. Y'all think I'm nuts at the dais up there at City Hall? When I say flip the city over,
yeah,
I will. That because my kids, those are my heart, right? I am who I am. Your life changes. What happens is the person that you were when you were 15, 20, 25, when you were single, then you're not the same person when you got married and had kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell you what, when I had my first child, Dahlia, my sense of protection for women, period, heightened a lot. I always felt like, because I have a mom, have aunties, you know what I'm saying, have family, my sisters. I have women in my life, and I care a lot. They know I love them, and I do believe in protection on many levels, right? With that being said, when I had my daughter, my first child, my first and my daughter, that level of me being a protector went up here, because this is something that I am directly responsible for. So, so saying all that to say, I kind of veered off, but I'm bringing it back to what the initial conversation is this. I didn't know that I could, that level could rise, and how I felt, and listen, I was on guard, period. I'm on guard now. Anybody who know how I am concerning Dahlia, my kids, both of them, but my girl, man, I'm a monster. I'm a monster, and I gladly proclaim my monsterivity or whatever. You know what I mean? With that being said, what's going on, Unica? So with that being said, you are who you are. So you never know a person completely.
Yeah.
Just love the person that you are right now, and understand how to embrace everything that changes in your life. Things change for a reason. some things happen in your life for a season and others happen for a reason. So with that being said, I think a big portion. So we're going to go back. So we talked about unhealed trauma when we talk about healthy relationships. So unpacking that stuff, whether it was from previous relationships, whether it was from type of trauma that you may have when you were a child, different traumas, maybe through work and church and different organizations that you may have had, different, Lady B, how you doing, love? Different, situations that you may have had, all of those different types of traumas that you may have went through, family traumas, before you find yourself into in another situation, get that unhealed trauma healed. 2, unspoken expectations, getting into a relationship that you don't express what you expect.
Yeah.
So when you don't express and you feel like the person should just know, that's unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic. So the unspoken expectations, and that kind of connects with the next portion, which is communication.
Yeah.
Because you got these expectations, now you must communicate. You have to communicate these expectations. And I talk about the 3. There is your giveaways, there's your non-negotiables, and then there's your healthy compromise. Giveaways, I'm just kind of doing an overview. Giveaways is, your loved one express an issue that they may have or something that they like, may be a problem with them. A giveaway is like, oh, that's nothing. Like, you can have that. I don't have to do that. Like, hey, I need you to wipe the toilet each time you get up. Like, okay, that's nothing. You know what I mean? That's a giveaway. Then your let's see. Oh, then your non-negotiables. These are pretty much the deal breakers. These are the ones that's like, hey, non-negotiable for me is infidelity. You choose to step out, yeah, it's probably a wrap at that point. But and I'm not saying that's for it's not for everybody. Some people, they I don't know. I'm not saying it's healthy to be that way, but like some people just like, oh, I dealt with it before. I'll forgive and we come back and we'll make it work or whatever. I don't know. So just have to know for yourself which one is a non-negotiable and which one is a giveaway. Then you're healthy compromise to the point where it's like, okay, you know what? I get it. And I'm willing to give you some of this, but we're going to have to kind of meet in the middle because this is not, I can't, just say, yeah, you can have all of this. So, one, you have to know for yourself which one is which. You can't expect your significant other to be the one that choose that for you. Yeah. And once you know which one it is, then you go ahead and you express that to your significant other and you let them know, okay, this is how I feel about this. I can give this away. This is game. No, I'm not having that at all. And let's meet in the middle. I don't feel comfortable giving that completely up. So there's that, right? Then today we spoke on excuse me, that little COVID thing left that little bunny right here in my chest. So outside influences where you start reaching out to people on the outside on things that you should probably be addressing in-house. And not only that, when I say outside influences, I'm talking about toxic outside influences. And we spoke on knowing who to bleed in front of, knowing how to bleed, like, you know what I mean? And not just bleeding all over the place. And which led to therapy, which led to counseling, and how counseling is good. Yeah, counseling is okay to do. to be able to unpack a lot of this. Some of it is historical trauma.
Yeah.
Some of it is just, bad surroundings, bad cultures that was created around you when you were young. Maybe learned behavior.
Yeah. Because as children developing, our environment is our truth. Oh, this is what we do. This is how we live. This is how we move. And you don't realize some of the toxic or traumatic behavior that occurred until you put yourself in a different environment. So, for example, and I just talk about it because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Drinking every day, smoking every day, dominoes, spades was the norm. Oh, that's what we do. This ain't alcoholism. This is just Tuesday. Okay, it's just Wednesday. This is just
right.
Then you get into a different environment where you see more productivity. You see things happening, and you see somebody else. Oh, we don't turn up like this until Friday, Saturday.
Right.
But throughout the week, this is more efficient. This is better than we got a problem.
Right.
But sometimes you don't realize it until you put yourself in a different environment and you meet new people who have a different upbringing, a different raising, a different concept. But you don't realize, I didn't consider this abuse at the time.
Right.
It was just how I was raised.
Right.
But I see that you have a more effective way of executing this that's different for me. So now I'm enlightened, or I'm willing to open up. Oh, this might be a different pathway. I'm just here because I'm talking now, right?
No,
so
good.
Even with my son, now I'm a firm believer. Spare the rod,
spoil the child.
I've been raised. I've been beat, battered, and broken. But then I went to discipline my son, and it hit different for me as a parent. Like the phrase would sound like, it hurts me more than it hurts you, which I thought was just like the black person phrase.
Right.
This moment was like, dag, the fact that I had to actually give you a discipline like this truly, bro, whoa.
Yeah, you felt it.
Whoa, my goodness.
You felt it.
Like, this ain't what I want. This is not how I desire to raise my son or even my daughter. It's just not. There has to be a better way.
Right.
So my prayer is, okay, God, show me the efficiency.
Right.
On really how to discipline without this is I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. This is a new encounter. Fresh anointing. On how to truly give my son the discipline that he needs, also without beating him all the time.
Right.
Some things are beat for your safety.
Yeah.
No, I need to let you know this is aggressively not to do this.
Right.
Because if you put this in this plug, death is coming.
Right.
But then it's like certain things is like there's just you don't know how to communicate. So that's just frustration. That's not because you did anything. And don't get me started with this.
No, because it's fun. I'm glad you went into that because that's going to be the next show.
Yeah,
because it's still healthy relationships. But guess who it's dealing with? Now we were talking about with your significant others, but now there's another portion, and so y'all can tune in next week as well as healthy relationships as it pertains to your children.
Oh, look at you! You tapped into a place.
Come on now, it's there. Valid. It's there. So I'm glad you said that because my daughter, I don't want to miss a. He said, okay. I don't want to miss. Okay. Is it a showstopper because of the word God releases you or because of embarrassment? Let me see. Let me make sure that I'm reading this right. Is it a showstopper because the word of God? There. Okay. I was reading it wrong. Is it a showstopper because the word of God releases you or because of embarrassment? Now, are you speaking on the aspect of the hold on, just explain that a little bit. I know.
Yeah. I don't know to what the contents that you're applying it to.
Yeah, because I've been doing we've been going in. So just hit me up with that. Hey, how you doing, Julia? She said, that's how the Father feels about us. It doesn't feel good to correct, but it's necessary.
You're valid.
My daughter, anybody who knows my daughter, she's a sweetheart. She is a absolute. Dahlia is my little world. She was my caretaker when I had COVID a couple weeks ago, right? But when she was young, she tried me. Let me put it this way. When Dahlia was born, Dahlia was probably one of the most silent, quietest, coolest little girls that I have known. We used to have to go in her room to just make sure she was alive. She was that chill. She'd be looking up like, hey, I am kind of hungry, but if I got something to do, y'all go ahead. I just chill for a minute.
That's not like she
you know, and I'm like, oh, okay. She started getting a little older, 1s and 2s, and I said, I think she's trying to test me a little bit, because it got to the point where I was like, Dahlia. She turned around, looked at me. I said, come here. And then she turned back around and just kept doing what she was doing. Knowing she was at that age of accountability. You knew exactly what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. So
I got up. Some people. Yeah, she does rock, Mary. And how are you this morning? I got up. Real quick. Nothing to real aggressive. Enough to get her attention.
Yeah.
But to take her out of her little zone. And when you take her out of her, she started crying. And I'm like, and I just went and sat back down. And I said, Dahlia, come here.
Yeah.
She came. Yeah. She was crying, but she came. She will tell you, her and both, I don't have to do much of nothing. If I call Dahlia from really, that only had to happen about a couple of times.
Yeah. I
called Dahlia today because they know their dad loves them.
Yeah.
Because you got, and that's another portion. There has to be balance.
Absolutely.
There has to be balance. She said, that's Julius. Hi, my handsome brother. I tune in weekly for y'all. I love the vibe, knowledge, and wisdom. Thank you, dear.
Appreciate it.
And I only had to do that like a few times in the early phases. That's why you got to set the stage while they're young.
Yeah. So
they have an understanding, but you do it with love. And when I'm done, it's like a good friendship that you argue, y'all can fight and fuss, but at the end of the day, y'all gonna hug it out. Absolutely. Y'all good. Because guess what? When you're a friend, I'm gonna fuss at you.
Yeah.
And I might get at you a little, but better not nobody else. You ain't nobody else gonna come to me and say anything about you. So, with that being said, my kids have that. They understand that, like they know. So anything I say or do is out of love. Now I can call Dahlia. She's 13 years old. People had all this, when they turn this age, wait for this. This is gonna happen. I can call Dahlia today. I can be in the basement. I can call Dahlia. She's gonna be like, first words, coming. Like coming. And she's on her. Sometimes I have to stop her, like, Dahlia, no, you ain't gotta come. Just make sure you go do A, B, C. Like, but the thing is this, like, she knows that, so there has to be a level, because some people are all and they don't have a balance of, so it becomes fear.
Right.
And what happens is a lot of times when it's imbalance, that fear turns into hate or resentment. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it doesn't, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to rear their child. I'm just talking about.
No, that's good, because, and that's a conversation that nobody wants to have with the people who are raising kids. We are figuring out,
right,
just as we are going.
Absolutely.
And that some trauma is not intentional.
Right.
Some trauma is. I can't wait until we tap in, because you're beating me up. I'm winging it, especially first child.
Right.
Winging it. What do you mean? I'm trying to figure out. We're trying to find the village.
Right.
We're trying to balance it out, and we're just repeating what we think is proper.
Right.
Right. Oh, that happened. That worked for me. We're gonna redo this thing. And that something isn't always trying to be traumatic or trying to be abusive or trying to. No, I'm just simply trying to. And then I'm encountering. It's different to hear it in somebody else's house.
Right.
But when it's happening to my child, when it's whether it's mental health, whether it's behavioral, whether it's lifestyle. This world, we are encountering this new.
Right. Facts.
So don't you dare beat me up and destroy me for trying to execute and figure out at the same time.
Right. Because and success is different. Yeah. On everybody's on. And here's the other portion. Finances. See, your finances, your surroundings, the space that you live in, that also plays a big role, because some people don't live in spaces and deal with things in their surrounding, in their place of vulnerability, their homes, that others have to deal with. So if you live on Mayberry and you live in an area that's very well to do and you're cool, you don't have to deal with A, B, and C, your dynamic may be different.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So so there's no judgment when it comes down to how someone I'm okay. I'm transparent with about how I rock it out. Maybe what happens with me might help somebody else. Yeah. I'm not saying that this is the guidelines of how you're supposed to raise a child.
Right.
With that being said, somebody who don't have to deal with certain things, give you a prime example. Some people can let their kids go out in front of their house and play. Me, I have a house where squatters and heroin addicts and crack,
60 seconds,
drug dealers and stuff live, squat, and my kids are not going to be not unless I'm out there physically. I've been in places campaigning where I've watched kids. I'm out here passing out palm cards, and the kids is just out front, willy-nilly running, going to the neighbor's house, and up. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So I'm gonna kind of hard stop it right here, because that's something that we can get into next week. Yeah. If y'all have any kind of like questions, even when in regards to our discussion on healthy relationships in regards to like significant others, please put it in the chat box, and I will definitely kind of like have address or from my space, the contents of that next week. But next week, I want to get into our relationships with our kids, which in many cases affects heavily the relationship with your significant other. Absolutely. Especially if you have kids from someone that's not your significant other. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please share. Go to Fire 716 Radio. Download the app. Check it out. Next week, same time, same channel. You know what I mean? We're here at Fire 716 Radio. This is your boy Donta Myles, a.k.a. D-Belly, a.k.a. Tank, a.k.a. your city councilman. We're here at the vote with my man, Big Frank. Yes, sir. Next week. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Donta Myles, a.k.a. D-Belly, a.k.a. your city councilman. I'm here at Fire 716 Radio, and I'm asking you to tune in on Thursdays at 11 on our show, The Vault. We're going to be having some conversations that's super relevant, but very important. And sometimes it may be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to make sure that we get our voices out. Come tune in on Thursdays at 11 a.m. and make sure you download the Fire 716 app.
I'm Rachel Stewart Johnson, the author of Shackle That Had Me Bound, owner of Beautiful Boss LLC, an advocate for abuse victims. At Beautiful Boss is where we take beauty personally, where we empower people and encourage them to be the beautiful boss they were created to be. Join the conversation with me every Thursday at 1 p.m. on Fire 716 Radio.